Hi everyone, my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay everybody, hello, happy Sunday and happy Mother's Day. I hope that you all are having an amazing day. Are we gonna address the elephant in the room that this video is a day late? No, just no. Let's get into today's story time. I'm gonna bring you guys up close. There we go. Okay, if my skin looks disgusting, it's literally because I love all of Kosas products. I think their makeup is amazing, but they came out with a cleansing oil and it broke me out. After I had literally just gotten my skincare routine better and I just fixed my skin barrier after a year and a half of bullshit skincare, I finally got my skin back to normal. I don't know, you guys probably can't really tell. I have a new light setup right now because the lighting in my last few videos has been fucking garbage. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I used it and I had these bumps on my forehead, closed comedones, for like a year and a half. And I finally got rid of them. I'm not even joking, guys. I literally got rid of them probably like 2 weeks ago. And I used this product and my skin is fucking terrible. Fuck my life. Not really. But okay, without further ado, let's get into today's story time. For those of you who may be new here, I'm going to do my quick usual little rundown. For most of the video, I'll be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave.
There's the door. There's the door, bitch!
And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Okay, so story time about how I absolutely hate high school. I hate it. So a little background information. I was 15 and a freshman in high school, but we're gonna rewind to the summer before my freshman year. My parents were very, very overprotective of me. Like, they shielded me from the fucking world. Why? I don't know, but they did. And I didn't have any siblings, which really sucked because it would have been nice to have somebody to go through this shit with, which I know sounds fucked up because it's like, why would you want somebody else to go through that? Well, it would have been just nice to have somebody there. Okay. Anyways, like I said, parents super strict. I was not allowed to watch TV. I wasn't allowed to have a phone. And for any of you who are thinking, well, that's normal, it's not. It's not. No, not in today's day and age. Most of the kids my age had a fucking phone whenever they were 8 years old. Be so for real. But yeah, because of this, I was really behind whenever it came to social media or any of that shit. I also was not allowed to hang out with any friends unless they came over to my house, which none of them really wanted to because all there was to do was literally sit in my house and do fucking nothing because I was not allowed to do anything either. Like, my friends would call my mom and they would be like, hey, can she go to the movies? My parents would be like, no. They would call and ask if I could go to the mall with them. But guess who wasn't allowed to go? Me. Nope. I would just sit in my room all fucking day, and guess what? I hated reading, so I didn't do that, even though my parents would buy me so many books. Like, why don't you buy me a fucking phone? You know? Why don't you why don't you give me money to go to the movies with my friends?
Why?
Anyways, yeah, but they would never do anything either. You know, there were no family outings, like going to the zoo or anything like that. I was miserable, now that I think about it. Like, I was really miserable in that house. The only thing that really kept me from going insane was the fact that my cousins lived next door, and I was allowed to hang out with them, but a lot of the times they wouldn't want to hang out with me because we were only allowed to hang out at my house, and if they came over to my house, they had to leave their phones at home. Yeah. Now that y'all know a little bit about my situation, we can finally get into things. So this story, like I said, starts in June, the summer before my freshman year in high school. One night, I am sleeping in my bed when all of a sudden I hear my mom come home, which was weird because she worked at McDonald's, and the McDonald's that she worked at was basically 24 hours. And she worked the night shift. But I thought to myself, whatever, until I hear a gunshot. And then I'm like, what the fuck? I'm terrified. I hide under my bed. Oh, and I don't really know what this part has to do with the story, but I just thought that I would throw it in there. Obviously because I never watched TV, I was never allowed to watch TV. I was never allowed to watch the news either. Like my parents, they would watch the news, but whenever I would come into the living room, they would turn it off, or they would make me go to my room so that way they could watch the news. It was weird. But I guess it's because they didn't want me knowing about all the crazy shit that was going on in the world, which doesn't mean that I didn't know there were murderers and stuff like that out there. I was just less aware of how often these things happened, and yeah, that's really all I can say about that. Like I said, don't really know what that has to do with the story, but I thought I should tell you guys. Anyways, so I hid under my bed for like 5 minutes, and of course, I can't call the police. Why? Because, oh yeah, I don't have a fucking phone. So then I hear my mom and my dad screaming at each other. That's whenever I climb out my window, and I go over to my cousin's house. I start banging on the window. One of my cousins comes over, and I tell them what happened. They call the police. Basically what happened was my mom came home early from work because she wasn't feeling well, and she walked in on my dad and another woman in their bed. Yeah. And my mom shot the woman, who ended up passing away, and my mom went to jail. After this, my dad was really upset because he had been having an affair with her for the past year, and apparently he really did plan on leaving my mom for her. Like, he really had plans to leave her. But obviously, now that plan is ruined.
Got him!
So fast forward a few days after this, my dad drops me off at my aunt's house, and I kid you not, he looked at me and he said, "You're never gonna see me ever again," and walked out the door.
Emotional, damn it!
I was shocked. Kind of. I mean, but then again, it kind of made sense. I'm not saying that I expected it, but within the past year, I did feel like my dad had been getting distant with me. I couldn't really tell if it was because I was annoyed with their parenting styles or if I was just starting to maybe rebel. My idea of rebelling was literally not going to my room whenever they wanted to watch TV. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, I couldn't tell if it was because I was rebelling or if it's because he just wasn't showing any fatherly, nurturing affection towards me. Now I know why. On a more serious note, can we just talk about the fact that none of this would have happened if my dad would have literally just manned up and told my mom that he didn't want to be with her anymore? My mom wouldn't be in jail. This woman would still have her life. My dad would be happy because he would be able to go off and ride into the sunset with this woman. But no. Why cheat? Why? Anyways, yeah, but now we know why my dad and I's relationship kind of went down the toilet this past year. But yeah, so now my dad just disappeared from my life. My mom's in jail.
Yeah, double homicide.
Bitch!
No, I'm sorry.
I'm about to go into high school. Like, fuck me. So yeah, all of that happened within like the first week of July. Thankfully, my aunt and cousins and uncle were super supportive during that time, which I'm not gonna lie, I expected from them because my cousins got blessed with a very nurturing mother and father. So now at this point, I'm living with my aunt and my uncle, my one cousin who is 23, and the other one who was 16. Fast forward to my birthday, it's at the end of July, so like 2 weeks before school started. It was only us 5 who celebrated my birthday, which I didn't mind, to be honest, because I only had a few friends from school because I couldn't really form any real type of friendship with the people that I went to school with, if that makes sense. It's not that the friendships that I had with these people weren't real. It was just that other people were able to form deeper bonds than I was able to form with these people because I could only spend time with them during school. Yeah, sure, there would be a few kids who wanted to come over to my house, but as soon as they found out they couldn't bring them their phone, they did not want to come to my house. Like, that was a fucking deal breaker. Do I blame them? No. Because, hello, everybody has a fucking phone. Anyways, my birthday was great. Highlight of my birthday, I got a phone. Yes, I fucking did. I'm not even joking, y'all. I was so fucking happy. Like, so fucking happy. And I would have been happy if she just bought me a flip phone. But no, she went all out. She got me the newest iPhone, so period. So right after this, my cousins and I, we go to our rooms because I shared a room with them, and they were helping me set up my social media accounts. By the way, we're gonna call my 16-year-old cousin Natalie and my 23-year-old cousin Paula. Now, obviously, I was going to be in school with Natalie because she's only a year older than me. So she was going into her sophomore year. I was going into my freshman year. The first day of school was okay, a lot of the people that I had been friends with in middle school, I was finally able to exchange numbers with them and talk about hanging out after school. But fast forward, I am in art class and the teacher tells us to pick our seats. So I see an empty table and I go and I sit at that one, because I didn't really know anybody in this art class. And then these two girls walk in and they come and they sit at the table with me. At first they seemed really nice. Well, the one girl did. The other girl seemed like a total bitch. We're gonna call the nice one Stella and the mean one Rachel. And to me, this kind of seemed like that duo where there's one friend that's really nice and then there's another friend that is just a total jerk and has that whole I don't give a fuck attitude and I say it how it is type of thing. Even though I don't think people realize how obnoxious that is, especially whenever you don't have a reason to hate somebody and you just bully them for no reason. But whatever. Okay, moving on. Now, how did I realize this was that kind of friendship? Let me explain. So basically, they come over, sit at the table, and they introduce themselves. Stella was like, "Are you new at this school?" And I was like, "No, I just didn't talk to too many people in middle school." And then Rachel was like, "Were you like one of the weird kids or something? Because I know everybody who we've went to school with." Like, she thought that I was lying. Like, why the fuck would I lie? That's just weird. And I'm like, "I don't think I was." Like, what kind of question is that? And she was like, "Oh, okay." And I think that Stella was trying to fill the awkward space after that because she was like, "I don't know, there are a lot of kids that are from our school that I don't really recognize this year." And she was like, "It's probably because there were some classes that 8th graders had with 7th graders," which I was in one of those classes, the math class. And so Rachel goes, "Oh, like the slow classes." And I was like, "No, actually, there were just some classes where 7th graders would be in 8th grade classes because they were to 8th grade math level." And then she just gave me a weird look and didn't say anything else after that. But whatever, it was super awkward. I dropped it because I'm not about to argue with some freaking mean girl. Like, no. Hell no. Anyways, at the end of class, we all followed each other on Instagram. And when I got home that day, I realized that Rachel unfollowed me, which I didn't care. It's not like I was looking for her notification on my thing. It was just that I only had 25 followers, so I could realize whenever somebody unfollowed me. So I just thought that was weird. And then Stella posted a Instagram photo and the caption said something like, "Another year closer to being free from this prison," whatever the fuck it said. I don't know. So I liked it and I commented hard eyes on the photo, just trying to be nice. And I know this doesn't really sound important, but the next day, Rachel liked my comment on Stella's picture, and then she commented on the photo, "Why are people acting like they know you? That's weird as hell." And Stella liked her comment, and it wasn't even like she tried to keep this discreet or anything because she replied back to my comment saying that. So yeah, it was just weird. And as I'm on Stella's picture, I realized that she commented back to everybody who commented on her post except for me, and I was the only person who commented and she didn't like their comment. So yeah, I could kind of tell that some weird shit was going on. So after this, I deleted my comment because there's no way that you're about to make me look like a fucking weirdo when I was just trying to be nice, you asshole. Like, hell no. Obviously, I tell my cousin about this, but my cousin is someone who doesn't like drama, so she just told me to leave it alone. So that's exactly what I did. I didn't block Stella, but I blocked Rachel because the last thing that I wanted was drama. Stuff like this gave me a lot of anxiety as well because I never really had problems with anyone. When I tell you I've never had beef with anyone, I mean literally never. But that kind of just made shit worse because I'm walking to art class and I can hear Stella and Rachel behind me. Guys, I don't really know what I'm doing with my makeup, so just go with it. I have no clue what's going on. But anyways, I hear them whispering and laughing, and then I hear Rachel say, "Yeah, stay away from her, Stella, because her mom literally murdered someone."
Bruh.
And then I hear Stella tell Rachel to stop and be quiet, which made me happy because I was like, okay, well, at least her best friend can tell that she's just being an asshole right now. So we get to art class, and one of our first projects for the semester was making clay vases. So after we watch the demonstration, we all go back to our seats and Stella gets up to go to a different table And that's whenever Stella was like, oh, I'm sorry if you heard Rachel earlier. She's been in a really bad mood these past 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on with her. And I'm like, it's okay. And then she was like, so, like, did your mom really kill someone? And I didn't want to lie about it, but then I also didn't think that it was her fucking business. But then I was like, yeah, she did. And then she asked me why my mom did it, but I did not feel like telling her my life story. So I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't really involved in the whole thing. And then she was like, oh, well, if you want to know what happened, like, what's your mom's name? I can just look it up. And I just looked at her and I'm like, no, I'm okay. And I think she got the hint after that, thankfully. And then she was like, oh, well, I'm sorry. That must be really hard. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine now. And then she was like, well, good. You know, if you ever need anybody to talk to, I'm here. While her and I are in the middle of this conversation where she's trying to have like a heart-to-heart with me, I think, all of a sudden I realized that Rachel is at a different table and she's whispering to someone and pointing at me. Well, actually, she wasn't just whispering to one person. She was bent over the art table with everybody in like a little huddle while she's talking about me and pointing at me. So then at the end of class, we all put our stuff away and line up by the door. And I was at the end of the line because I did not want anybody to talk to me, especially because I didn't know what Rachel was telling everyone. Even though I can already guess what it probably was. She's probably telling everyone that I'm a freak, my mom killed someone, and they're probably next. So yeah, basically it is Rachel and Stella and a few of the popular kids from our class standing up at the front by the door, and they all seem pretty distracted, so, you know, I thought that I was safe. And listen, I don't know whether it's because my mom murdered somebody or I was quiet and that's why Rachel felt like I was an easy target, but this girl really, really, really hated me. Like, that's the only way to put it. She fucking hated me so bad. And I could not figure out why. Yeah, I just couldn't figure out why she felt like I was an easy target. Anyways, so like I said, I'm standing at the end of the line on my phone and I see someone's feet in front of me and I look up and it's Rachel. And she's like, why did you block me? Like, can you unblock me? And I really didn't know what to say because, to be honest, I thought that if I blocked her, she just would leave me alone. She wouldn't mention it, but I guess that some people don't give a fuck. When I was thinking of all the possible outcomes that could happen if I blocked her, this wasn't one of them. I definitely didn't think she was going to confront me about it, even though I should have known better because she's a bitch. And I didn't want to tell her that I was offended by the comment that she made on Stella's post. So I just stared at her and she was like, hello, I'm talking to you. And in that moment, I felt like I was dealing with my toxic parents. And then she was like, if this is about my reply to your comment on Stella's post, I was literally joking. It wasn't that deep. So now in my head, I'm starting to question, like, did I overreact about that? I don't think that I did, but maybe I did. So then I'm like, okay, yeah, like, I'll unblock you. And she's like, great. And I'm like, yeah, great. I was not planning on unblocking her. And then she's like, can you do it now? Like, I want to make sure that you actually unblock me. Like, girl, who the fuck are you? Who are you? Like, please humble yourself. And I was like, no, I'll do it later. My phone's about to die. And she was like, I'll let you use my charger right now.
Oh, you finna piss me off today.
And so I'm just sitting there staring at her and she's like, hello, like, you can borrow my charger if you want. Thankfully, the fucking bell rang after what felt like years of standing there being tortured by this asshole. So I walk out of the class first. Her and Stella are behind me and she kept stepping on the back of my shoes. And I look back and she's like, sorry, walk faster.
Run, bitch! Run!
And so I start walking faster and she's stepping on the back of my shoes again. So I go into the fucking bathroom and I wait till the bell rings so that way I can go to class in peace. But I literally got in trouble for sitting in the fucking bathroom, but I didn't even care. I did not care. Like, it was either be late to class or be harassed in the hallway. So the next few weeks were literally hell. Like, I felt like I was living in my own customized fucking nightmare. Because not one of my biggest fears, but one thing I've always been super afraid of is someone not liking me and me being bullied because of it. And I don't care if anybody says, oh, well, you know, it seems like she was just joking around with you. No. She was being fucking mean. And she was being a bully. Like, for example, I grew up poor, Okay? Couldn't afford to go get a haircut, however often you're supposed to get one. And I let my mom cut my hair once, which was a fucking mistake because she literally messed up my hair so bad. Anyways, the point is, the one day, just sitting there, minding my own fucking business, and Rachel out of nowhere goes, some people just really don't know how to take care of themselves. And then she starts looking at her hair. She like picks it up and she looks at it and she's like, so happy that I can afford to get a haircut. Split ends are ugly. Like, that is the type of petty shit that she was literally bullying me about. Obviously, I knew this was about me because my split ends were basically up to my fucking chin and my hair was almost down to my ass. Not down to my ass, but the middle of my back. Okay, whatever. And I know this might seem like little things, but it's the little things that can really fuck with the way you see yourself. Anyway, Stella would try to get her to calm down and like shut the fuck up, but it never worked. So fast forward, there ended up being this guy that I liked in our art class. And he was a new student, so he didn't know any of the shit that Rachel was going around and telling everyone. Thankfully. Also, thankfully, this week, Rachel was on vacation with her family and Stella, so I didn't have either of them there that whole week. This guy is kind of irrelevant, but I guess we'll give him a name. We're gonna call him RJ. So RJ and I, we ended up liking each other, which I know a week seems really fast to catch feelings for somebody, but give me a fucking break. I'm 15 years old. Okay. And then that next week, Rachel and Stella are back and they see that RJ is sitting next to me at our table because there were only the three of us at the table, so there was one more seat open and he sat next to me. And while we're all sitting there, I could just tell that Rachel was she was pissed that she left me alone for a week and I actually made a fucking friend and wasn't being bullied.
Oh, you want to get fucked up?
So what did she decide to do? While we're sitting there, she looks at RJ and she goes, so are you two like best friends now? And he was like, we're good friends. And I had no idea what the fuck she was about to say. But then she goes, good enough friends to the point where she told you that her mom killed someone. And y'all, when I tell you that I snapped, like I really fucking snapped. I got up, walked out of class, went to the guidance counselor's office, and I told them, I said, Rachel's going around telling everyone that my mom killed someone. And she's been bullying me basically since fucking school started and nobody's doing shit about it. Thankfully, my guidance counselor basically loved me because she felt really bad for the shit that I had to go through with my parents. So she called Rachel down there right then and there. And the guidance counselor told me that I could go back to class. And when I got back to class, Stella was like, I don't understand why you told on her.
Bitch, are you dumb?
Pardon me? Like, medically speaking, are you like...
Like, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, are you dumb?
And I'm like, because she's a fucking bully. What do you mean you don't understand why I told on her? And she was like, no, that's literally just Rachel's way of having fun. Like, that's her sense of humor. I was like, oh, her sense of humor is bullying somebody to the point where they literally have no fucking friends and where they have anxiety and panic attacks every day whenever they have to come to fucking certain classes that they're in with that person. And she just didn't say anything. After that, y'all will be happy to hear that RJ, he made friends with a different girl and went and sat at whatever table she was at. And he blocked me on Snapchat. And I don't think that it was because of what my mom did. I really think that it was because he realized that I was not somebody who had a lot of friends in school. And if he hung out with me, he most likely was going to be in the same boat and be considered a weirdo. And I understand, you don't want that reputation when you're new at school, so whatever. Yeah, Rachel was forced to apologize to me. And I'm not gonna lie, I really was worried about telling on her, because snitches get stitches, but she really did leave me alone after that for a good minute. Like, I'm sorry, but if anybody ever bullies me ever again, I will literally dance to the guidance counselor's office and fucking tell on you with a smile on my face, because I literally should have just did this the first time that she fucking messed with me. But shoulda, coulda, woulda. Anyways, so yeah, that happened in October. She left me alone for the next 2 months. So now, fast forward to January, right after winter break. It was the beginning of a new semester. Finally, all my classes were being switched. I wasn't going to have art class with that psycho anymore. And in my gym class, there was this boy named Toby. And our gym teacher assigned everyone a partner to practice with for the fitness test. So for the next week, Toby and we were going to be partners. And besides RJ, this is the first boy that I've gotten pretty close with, I would say, who actually knew about what happened with my mom and everything and didn't care. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I already said this or not, but I don't really think that my mom killing somebody had anything to do with me not being able to really make friends the first semester and boys not really wanting to talk to me. I honestly think that boys didn't talk to me because they just really didn't like me. Because, y'all, if he wanted to, he would. Even if your mom murdered someone.
And I'ma stand on that.
Seriously. My aunt was the one who actually told me that, which really helped boost my confidence after the whole thing with RJ happened. Anyway, so yeah, him and we would FaceTime, Snapchat, text each other all the time. And eventually he started meeting me at my locker in the morning and walking me to and from all of my classes. Like, he would literally make sure to get out of his class early just so that way he could be outside of mine as soon as the bell rang. He was super sweet. So fast forward, the one day I get to school, and right as I'm about to walk to my locker, I see Rachel walk up to him. Yeah. It was kind of weird, to say the least. So I completely avoid going to my locker. I went straight to the nurse's office. So I wait like 5 minutes in there until I get a text from Toby, and he asked where I was. So I tell Toby that I am in the bathroom, and I walk out of the nurse's office. Sadly, the nurse's office is literally only like 30 feet from my fucking locker. So I walk out. I still see Rachel standing at my locker talking to him. So I go back in the nurse's office, but then Toby sees me and he starts waving. And then Rachel turns around and sees me, but then she turns back around and she's like, "Who are you waving to?" And then she turns back around and realizes it's me. Yeah. Yeah. So as I'm walking closer to my locker, she rolls her eyes, says ew, and then walks away. And I'm not gonna lie, after that moment, I already had a feeling that things were about to fucking go back to how they were, if not even worse. And I have really bad anxiety issues, okay? As every other teenager in this world probably does. But it got so bad that halfway through my first period, I went to the bathroom and I start puking because of how bad my anxiety is. Guys, these bubbles look like shit, but this is my first time ever doing them, so maybe we'll do them again next week and hopefully they turn out better. So yeah, I'm in the bathroom puking because of how bad my anxiety is, and as I'm like puking, I'm looking under the stall to make sure that nobody's coming in while I'm puking, because I just didn't need that. But I guess I missed somebody, because during lunch, one of the kids that was standing in front of me in the lunch line let Rachel and Stella cut in front of us. And I hear Rachel say, "I don't understand why people eat food just to puke it up later. Wasteful as fuck." And then one of the girls that her and Stella were with says, "Yeah, there's children that are in Africa starving right now. It's pretty selfish." And of course, I know this is not just a coincidence. No, because why could it ever just be that? Why? Anyway, so during school, I have my phone on D&D throughout the whole day. So, I check my phone because in my head, I'm like, okay, wait, like, am I missing something? I expected, maybe somebody to text me like, "Hey, this rumor's going around about you." So when I didn't get any of that, I'm thinking, okay, well, period, I'm in the clear. Well, tell me why in the middle of lunch, I'm added on Snapchat by a girl named Evelyn, and I add her back on Snapchat. Well, then I realized that she already has me added to a private story, so I go and I look at it, and it's a picture of me on my knees in the bathroom. Like, they took a picture from outside the stall and you could see my knees on the floor. And obviously I was puking. But the caption said, "I can only think of 2 reasons why you would be on your knees like that. Which one do you guys think it is?" And then she made like a little poll. And the first option was bulimia. And then the second one was giving head. I was literally, obviously very fucking embarrassed by this. And I sit with my cousin at lunch, so I show her the picture, and she's like, "Listen, just ignore them. They're all a bunch of weirdos." And I'm like, "I just don't understand, like, what it is." And she was like, "Dude, they're jealous of you. That's why they keep fucking with you. And as much as I would want to believe that in my head, bitch, they're not jealous. They're just fucking mean. And for some reason, I am the easiest person for them to fucking pick on. Like, can I catch a fucking break? No. So I blocked this Evelyn girl, and it just kept getting even more embarrassing. Because for the next week, anytime that I would walk past Rachel and her friends, they would start making gagging and puking noises in the hallway. And I'm just like, fuck off. The good thing was, Toby didn't know about any of the rumors until when we were walking in the hallway and he heard them doing that. And he was like, why are they so weird? And that's whenever I told him that Rachel hates me. And he was like, that's a dumb reason. When I told him that it was because of my mom, he was like, that's a dumb reason for her to hate you. That's definitely not it. And I'm like, okay, well, when you figure out what it is, please let me fucking know, because I would love to know. But then he actually offers to talk to her. And I'm like, no, please actually don't fucking do that. Please don't do that. I don't want you to talk to her. I just want this to be over with. So please, for me, don't say one fucking word. And he said, well, her and I used to date, so maybe she'll listen to me.
Wait, who?
And then in my head, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? So I'm like, you guys used to date? And he was like, yeah, like back in middle school. And I'm like, this is the reason why she's fucking bullying me again. And he's like, what are you talking about? So I explained the whole thing about the guidance counselor and everything like that to him. And then he was like, okay. And then I was like, well, whenever she saw you and I at my locker the one day, that's whenever this bullying shit started again. And he's like, well, I'm sorry. Do you like not want to be friends anymore? And I'm like, no, I want her to stop fucking bullying me. That's what I want. Like, that is the issue. Nothing else is the issue. That is the fucking issue. She's bullying me. I want her to leave me the fuck alone. And he was like, okay, well then why don't you just let me talk to her? Long story short, I told him not to. Guess what he did? Yep, he talked to her. So fast forward to Wednesday, which was 2 days before Valentine's Day. And this is probably a week after that whole situation and after he talked to her. She didn't really leave me alone, but whatever. I wasn't expecting her to. So I'm standing in the lunch line. Rachel and Stella come up right behind me, and I was about to go to the other line because I don't want to be anywhere near them. But before I go over to the other line, Stella's like, oh my gosh, I love your hair today. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Don't worry, I still plan on going to the other line. I just, said thank you. As I'm walking away, Rachel was like, did you really like her hair? And Stella was like, ew, no. She was like, I wish I could give her money to go get a haircut. It looks like she has lice. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Which, listen, I was shocked to hear Stella say this because she played this nice girl act for so long, which I know you guys are like, girl, be so fucking for real. But listen, cause no, before winter break, she literally got me a Christmas gift. A Victoria's Secret lotion and perfume. Yeah, and that shit's fucking expensive. I don't think that you would give that to somebody that you hated, really. But I guess I was wrong. Okay, whatever. So at this point, Toby and I had gotten pretty serious. We both established that we really liked each other and that things were moving towards us being in a relationship. And he also made reservations for us for dinner on Valentine's Day at this restaurant on the beach. And I was super excited. Well, 2 weeks ago, Rachel had ended up getting switched into my math class, which I think I told y'all this in the beginning. I was terrible at math, so I was in one of the slow classes, which is funny because, Rachel, weren't you just making fun of people in those classes? Okay. Anyways, my friend Mila and I were sat in front of Rachel and one of her friends, and I may or may not have tried to make her jealous, which I know honestly wasn't a good idea on my part, but I was like, OMG, yeah, Toby has something like really special for us planned tonight. We're gonna go to dinner on the beach, blah, 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 this, that, and the next. And she was like, oh my gosh, do you think he's gonna finally ask you to be his girlfriend? And I was like, well, he's had these reservations for like a week, so I don't know. Rachel didn't say anything, but there's always a but. My math class was at the end of the day, like literally our last class. Rachel went up to the teacher asking if she could go to the office because her mom was going to be there to pick her up, blah, 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 something, something. Her mom ended up actually being at the office to pick her up. So like 10 minutes before the bell rang, she went over to the phone bin, grabbed her phone, and left. Well, 1 minute before the bell rings, our teacher finally lets us get up and get our phones. And guess whose is missing? Obviously mine. Fuck you too. So I start freaking out because, not to be TMI or anything, but Toby and I had recently started sending spicy pictures to each other. So I was freaking the fuck out. And my password was literally only 4 digits. And yes, I was one of those people who made it my fucking birthday. So I went up to the teacher. I tell him what happened. I go and I tell my cousin. She told my aunt, and then my aunt called the school and started flipping the fuck out. Because how are you going to make kids put devices that literally cost almost $1,000 into a fucking bin where anybody can grab them? Like, how does that make any fucking sense?
This is quite possibly the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
So at this point, my aunt, she calls the police. But by that time, Rachel was already gone. And Apple has this feature on your phone where you can like help a friend, and basically you can help your friend find their phone, whatever, I don't know. So I tried doing that with my cousin's phone, but Rachel had turned off my phone. So I start freaking out because I didn't remember if I put Toby and I's pictures into my private camera roll or not. I'm also freaking out because Toby and I are supposed to go to dinner together and I can't even text him. So I log into my Snapchat on my cousin's phone, and what do you know? I can't log into it. That's just fucking great. Yeah. And it's not because she like changed my password or anything like that. It was because I had a fucking security code that literally would get sent to my phone number. So I can't log into Instagram either. And I'm supposed to be dropped off at Toby's house at 6:30. So this whole time I'm just praying that Toby knows that I'm still gonna show up at his house and be ready for dinner. The police did end up going to Rachel's house, but Rachel wasn't there. No, instead Rachel's mom gave the police the phone. So while I'm on the way to Toby's house, we stop at the police station to grab my phone. After I got my phone, thankfully she didn't fucking break the shit. But I did see that there was a paragraph sent to Toby from my phone. And it was like, hey, I don't want to go to dinner with you tonight. To be honest, I've been talking to somebody else and I don't really like you anymore. Sorry. And he replies, wait, are you joking? And the next text said, no, sorry, I actually had sex with this guy, so things are pretty serious. Now I'm bawling my eyes out. Bawling my fucking eyes out. So I tell my cousin that he thinks that I don't like him and everything because she sent these text messages from my phone. And she was like, well, why don't we still go to his house just to see what the fuck is going on? Like, I doubt that he went to dinner without you. So we go to his house, knock on the door, click the fucking ring bell button. Toby's mom answers and she's like, we're not home right now. And I'm like, oh, well, Toby and I are supposed to go to dinner tonight at 6:30. And so she tells me to hold on a minute. So during this time, I'm trying to text Toby and basically tell him a story that seems very, very, very unbelievable. Like, I'm trying to explain that I'm not a slut and it was this psychotic bitch trying to ruin my life for no reason. And then I press the ring again and I'm like, can you please just tell him to unblock me? So then Mila texts me and she's like, hey, I thought you and Toby were supposed to be going to dinner tonight. And I'm like, I think we still are. Why? She sends me a picture of Rachel's story, and it's literally him and Rachel in the backseat of a car with her holding roses and him kissing her cheek while she's taking a picture. And it says, locked in for life, your favorite couple's back. So after this, I decided to text Toby off of my cousin's phone. And I basically told him that I was super upset that right after that happened, he didn't even give it like 5 minutes. He just fucking moved on. You know, just to interject real quick, I'm sorry, but if I was in high school and I got a message like that, I would be like, oh, shit. Well, there we go. Because this happens so much where girls have been dating a guy for months, years, they've went on vacation together, and yes, this is all in high school and school in general, and then one day their boyfriend will text them and be like, I don't want to be with you anymore, I'm not ready for a relationship, blah, 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 this is getting too serious. So then poof, you never hear from them again. Next thing you know, they're posted up on their story with 20 bitches. Anyways, so like I said, now I'm texting him off my cousin's phone. So I decide to wait at his house. I tell my cousin, you can go home. I'm going to wait here. I don't care. Because I wanted to talk to him and tell him what happened, everything with the police and Rachel. Finally, I see a car pull into the driveway. It's Toby's mom. She gets out and I'm like, where's Toby? And she's like, he went to Rachel's house. And I start crying. And she's like, well, I'm going to take you home. And I'm like, can you please call him and at least tell him that I've been sitting here waiting for him for hours? Toby's mom and I had met before over FaceTime, but Toby's mom, she liked me, but she also had a different relationship with Rachel. Because Rachel and Toby dated in 8th grade, but when I tell you guys, their relationship was like an adult relationship. They would spend the night at each other's house every night, and yeah. Anyways, so Toby's mom calls him, and I'm in the car. The phone's connected to the speaker so I can hear everything. And she's like, do you want to know who I have in my car right now? Do you want to know who's been waiting here at our house for the past 5 hours for you? And he was like, okay, I get it. And she's like, no, I'm dropping her off at home right now. And then I hear Rachel in the background. She's like, are you really on the phone with that bitch? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Toby's mom was like, you better tell her to chill the fuck out because I don't know who she's talking about. And then Toby was like, okay, well, can you just pick me up before you drop her off at her house? And then I hear Rachel start screaming even more in the background. But after this, Toby and I talk and I tell him what happened. And we try to fix things. Things were kind of good for like 2 weeks after that. And I asked him if him and her did anything together. And he said no. But then he started having some issues down there. And he found out that he had an STD. Yeah. So I knew that he was lying to me. And he found out that Rachel, I feel really bad for this, she was getting abused at home and she had it and she gave it to him. Thank God I didn't do anything with him. Thank God I found this out before anything happened.
A win is a win. A win is a win. I don't care what y'all say. A win is a win.
But yeah, now, though, everybody thinks that I have an STD because Rachel went around saying that I slept with him after. And everybody thinks that I'm the one who gave it to them, even though Rachel literally told Toby she got it from her stepdad. Like, you're a bitch. I don't care. Awful. So yeah, freshman year fucking sucked. Hopefully sophomore year is better. I doubt it. Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, maybe hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want to know whenever I post my next video, make sure to click that bell. And if you guys want to send in your anonymous story time, or you want to know how to send in your anonymous story time, make sure to click the links down below in the description. But other than that, I will see you guys next time with a new story time.